Okay, turn your cameras on. So in the last class, we did some questions from conservation of plants and animals, right? And from pressure also, we have done some questions. Okay. I assume that this revision series, this revision that is going on, it's helpful to you guys. Okay, now. And also try to ask questions, like whatever questions or difficulty you guys are having in any of the topics, any of the chapter, feel free to get your doubts cleared. Okay, now feel free to ask any question. All right. Here, Priyanka. If there's some network issue, Priyanka, you can keep your camera off if that's what you're. Okay, no issues. If you can only type, then that is also fine. Okay, so let's start the class now. So the first question: bodies of birds, fishes, and ships are.
Streamlined.
They are streamlined. Good. Next. Friction can also produce. Guys, keep your cameras on. Hey, Mustafa and Abu Bakr, how are you? That is heat. Very good.
Streamlined shape to reduce friction.
Okay, what about you guys? Yeah, Doha. Yes, Abu Bakr.
Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Walaikum salam. So that is clearly streamlined shape now. All the object that is moving in the fluid. By fluid, we are referring to both air and water here. So all the objects that have to move in fluid, like in air and water, they need to have a streamlined shape so that friction will be reduced. Otherwise, if they were to have a blunt uh, head or a wide area, so there will be so much of energy will be spent, so much of fuel will be consumed in order to overcome the fluid friction. So they have a streamlined shape. Continue.
More friction.
Exactly. Rough surface, they produce more friction. Very good. In many machines. Repeat again.
Lubricating oil.
There could be multiple answers for this question,
Ball
but
bearing.
we will try to pick the most appropriate. Lubricating oil is also correct. As
Ball
you're
bearing.
saying, ball bearing. This is more appropriate. Okay, now because in many machines, friction is reduced by using ball bearings. Okay. If suppose there were to be two blanks here, then you could have written lubrication also, lubricating oil also. Okay, no? Good. Friction is independent of the nature of surfaces in contact. Yeah.
Sir, saying it does not depend on the nature of surface in contact.
Yeah, independent means that it does not depend on the nature of the surfaces that are in contact.
So false.
That is obviously false. No? It obviously nature of the surface is one of the important factor that determines it. Nature of the surface here means smoothness, right now. Next, a spring balance measures force. By the way, this is a spring balance. This is what a spring balance is. We have discussed about it in the last class. If you guys were there, remember. Right. So is the unit of the force written here in the spring balance?
Yeah.
It is written now, right? So suppose if this spring were to go from here to here, like if it stops at this point, so how much is the force? How much will be the magnitude of force?
200.
2 Newton. Very good. 2 Newton. Okay, now. And the weight is like 200 gram. Getting it? So that is true. Friction can be reduced by using ball bearings in some machines.
True.
That is also true. Next.
False.
True.
It is true. Though it is true. Friction can never be eliminated. Here it is saying like that the question is asking in the sense like, can friction be made 0%? Can it be 0? So friction cannot be 0. Getting it? There will still be micro irregularities present on the surfaces. So friction can never be 0. There will still be some amount of friction. Getting it? Like no matter how much of lubricating oil we use, no matter how much of our lubricating oil or other things we use, friction is still going to be there. That one is also true. And the last one?
False.
False.
That is false. Okay, we are required to match column A with column 2. Okay, I'm going to assign this. Okay, I will be assigning this one. How many of you are there right now? 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 of you are there, no? So that A is for you, ABU. This one is for you, Abu Bakr, Aman, Doha, Priyanka, and who's left? Someone's left, I think.
Tell me.
Oh yeah, Mustafa, you. The remaining ones anyone can answer. So the fluid friction.
Sir, reduces friction.
No, false. Anyone else would like to answer the first question?
So it's streamlined.
Streamline. Okay, no? Basically, both of them should match some context. Getting it? The context here is that a body that is going to move in the fluid, right now, in order to decrease the fluid friction, it needs to have a streamlined shape.
So it will be drag, right? Because the shape of an airplane is streamlined.
Repeat again.
Shape of an airplane is streamlined.
Yeah, obviously.
Friction will be drag.
Yeah. Basically, air resistance is also called as drag. Okay, no? Next. It's for you, Aman Mustafa. Okay, you have already answered this one. Shape of aeroplane, that is drag. Shape of aeroplane.
Sir,
Hold on.
So I said shape of airplane is streamlined.
Shape of aeroplane, that's going to be streamlined actually. And the first one,
Friction will be drag.
yeah, this one we need to change. The first one, fluid friction, is also known by another name, that is a drag actually. Okay, now it is correct. You're saying Aman Mustafa, yeah. Yes, lubricants, what do they do?
Sir, reduce friction.
Reduce friction, good. Next, Doha.
Wheels are rolling friction.
Yeah, they work on the concept of rolling friction, good. Okay, some questions are left here. Priyanka, have you answered? Your answer is for 4, it's G, spring balance. It measures force. Very good. Yeah, you guys tell me now. Rough surface
Increases friction.
increases friction. Very good. Heat generation
Due to friction.
due to friction. Very good. The question here says that understanding rolling friction had led to a revolution in the transport industry. You have to comment on this.
Okay.
You can all of you think about it, like how the rolling friction had led to a revolution in the transport industry. Okay, now also in your history books you would have learned about the Paleolithic, Mesolithic, Neolithic, different ages. Right now you would have learned about the Stone Age, Iron Age, Copper Age. So in which age, tell me, in which age wheels were discovered, wheels were invented, I would say? Wheel is considered as one of the humanity's most important invention, right? Getting it? Like the exact moment of its invention is obviously not documented, not known, it's unknown. but it's believed to have originated around like 3500 in BC. Getting it? So roughly 5 to 6,000 years ago, wheels were invented by the humans. Particularly, they belong to Mesopotamian civilization. You have heard about Mesopotamian civilization, Mesopotamia,
Yes, sir.
right? So Mesopotamia is basically the modern day Iraq, right? Everyone, Mesopotamia is basically the modern day Iraq.
So Iran, right?
Mesopotamia, no,
So it was,
it's
so it also originated from the Egyptian civilization.
from that aspect.
Yeah, these-
Hmm. Actually, it's modern day Iraq, not Iran, Mustafa. Okay, Naman. It's modern day Iraq. Basically, Mesopotamia is modern day Iraq. Getting it? Also, the word Mesopotamia means between the rivers. If you have to look at the etymology of it, you will find that in Greek it means an area that is enclosed between the Tigris and the Euphrates River. On map, it's basically an area between the Tigris and the Euphrates. So the area in between these two rivers, that was called as Mesopotamia. Anyways, the question here is like understanding rolling friction had led to a revolution in the transport industry. So try to frame your answer and then answer it.
Sir, what are those patterns on tires called?
Repeat again.
So what are those patterns on tires called?
Patterns. We call them as treads, I think. Okay. Like we make these um, patterns like they call treads.
Okay, sir.
Yes, anyone? The question is not that difficult. See, the wheels are working on the concept of rolling friction, right? Suppose if the wheels were never invented, right? Or suppose in place of wheels, we were to use these kind of things. Okay, we were to have square shaped wheels. Huh? So will would the transport industry will the transport industry develop?
Mm.
Would it have developed
No,
if we were
sir.
to have these square wheels? No. So basically, the thing here is that rolling friction, it's much smaller than the sliding friction, right? Which makes it easier for movement. Then we also are using wheels, I mean to say ball bearings, right? And that also reduces the friction and it requires less force to move the heavy loads. So understanding the rolling friction has led to a revolution in the transport industry, right? It has revolutionized the transport by making vehicles, trains, machines move faster and move more efficiently, and that also by saving fuel and energy. Getting what I'm trying to say? Okay.
Yes, sir.
So these are the things you basically have to mention. You have to basically you have to explain how rolling friction is good. Okay, no? So understanding of the rolling friction has fundamentally transformed or has changed the transport industry by enabling the creation of the vehicles, trains, machines that are moving very efficiently. Right, their speed has increased. Okay, there's efficiency of the fuel. So these are the things here. Next question is sports car come with very special shapes. You have to explain them. I'm going to assign the questions, otherwise you guys won't be
Like,
answering
sir,
it.
for aerodynamics.
Repeat again.
Sir, aerodynamics.
Aerodynamics.
So that's why, sir, sports cars, they
Hmm.
come with special shapes. So, like,
Yeah.
sir, F1 cars, sir, they are very low because, sir, of aerodynamics, sir, because they go in a really high speed. But, sir,
Hmm.
some other races, like the drag races or some other races, sir, they have
Hmm.
normal cars like BMW, Porsche, or some
Hmm.
other, or Toyota, something like that. Sir,
Good.
because, sir, the race path is too short, or sir, maybe the speed limit of the car, and sir, like the path is different from the other races.
So basically, they have aerodynamic shapes that helps in reducing the air friction. Right now, aerodynamic shape is the kind of shape that will reduce the air friction, will reduce the drag. So it's essentially a streamlined design. Getting it now? So sports cars, they have a streamlined shape. They have aerodynamic shapes that helps to reduce the air friction, so that the car or cars can move faster and they will use less fuel, especially when they are moving at higher speed. Okay. Third question, Doha, you will explain. Okay. Question number 4, Abu Bakr, you will explain. And question number 5, Aman Mustafa, you will be explaining. Yep. For you, Doha, question is explain what are the causes of friction.
Okay, I'll just take a minute.
Okay, and for you, Abu Bakr, the question is, what are the factors that affect friction? Explain with an example. Last question is for you, Aman Mustafa. Priyanka, you can answer any of the questions of your choice in the chat box, since you're traveling. So you can only type.
Can I answer mine?
Yeah.
So, like, so the soles of our shoes, sir, they are threaded, or sir, we can also say that they are grooved. So, like,
Mm-hmm.
to increase the friction between the surface and our shoes, sir. So, like,
Exactly.
it, like, sir, improves the grip, and sir, we will not slip if we use those threaded soled shoes.
Mm. Right. So it basically
Like, even on
increases friction.
wet grounds, or sir, like uneven grounds, sir, where the grounds are
Mm.
slippery, sir, all of that, sir, we will not slip because of these shoes.
Very good. So it prevents slipping on the smooth surfaces, on rough surfaces. I mean, just on wet surfaces, and basically provides you good grip over the ground while you're walking or running. Right. You have seen the shoes of the football players, right now, of the soccer player. Right. They have basically spikes on their shoes. Right now, that is to increase the friction, basically. Okay. Abu Bakr, you also answer the question. What are the factors that affects the friction? Explain with an example.
Sir, can I construct my answer
Okay,
first?
construct your answer. Okay, take your time. Who's left? Aman, Mustafa? Oh, you have already answered.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Um. Okay, Mustafa goes. We haven't any answered any questions, no? Okay. So Mustafa, you explain to me. You explain to me that what are the factors that affects fluid friction? Let me repeat. You have to answer the question that what are the factors that affects fluid friction?
Okay.
Should I write it? Question for you was what are the factors that affects fluid friction? Okay, this one is for you, Mustafa.
Okay.
Hmm. Yeah, Doha, are you prepared now?
Yes, sir, I'm just nearly done.
Okay, okay. Yes. Anyone? Abu Bakr?
Yes, I'm ready.
Yeah, Taha.
So friction is due to the interlocking of the surfaces. For example, when we cut paper, we might cut it straight and it looks very straight to us, but if we look under a microscope, there are very tiny ridges on the sides edges of the paper. This shows that even on our hands and even on our body, for example, if we accidentally slip on the ground, our hand might touch the ground and it might slowly or for example, if we rub a sandpaper on another piece of sandpaper, then sooner we can see it smoother. This is because when we look under a microscope, the sandpaper actually has it's a very rough surface and
Hmm.
it comes contact with the other piece of sandpaper, which is also a rough surface. I mean, when we rub it together, friction is occurring.
Okay. So the basic cause is the micro irregularities present on the surfaces of the objects, right? It's because of the irregularities, and the irregularities will kind of look like hills and cliffs like this, right? Okay, so when we try to move one object over another object, right now these irregularities kind of gets interlocked, right now it kind of gets interlocked. So even though the objects they seem very smooth to our naked eyes, to our bare eyes, but if you were to look them under microscope, so they have these microscopic bumps, they have these microscopic irregularities in them, like it kind of looks like valleys on their surfaces, right? So when these surfaces are coming in contact, and when we try to move one object over another object, so these irregularities kind of interlock and they kind of create a resistance to motion, right? So one of the reason is the irregularity. Another, you should have also added that surface roughness also, right? And that is also the cause of friction.
And that's the sandpaper.
Sandpaper, as you quoted an example. Good. Yeah. Anyone else? Abu Bakr, you ready now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, so then basically the size of the groove, the force of the friction, and then the material used. So the example is, so like basically our shoes have grooves.
Okay.
If our shoes don't have grooves, then we don't have enough grip as we can fall from them.
Okay. Okay. Good. So they are majorly factors like roughness of the surface, right? Then it's also like first factor is the nature of the surfaces that are in contact. Another was the force that is pressing the surfaces of the objects together. Right now, basically the force with which the two objects are being pressed together. Then you should have added like presence of lubricants also, right? Lubricants also, they're also one of the factor that affects the friction. Okay, and as the example you have quoted, that is correct. Okay, one question was given to you as well, Mustafa Gauss. Pinka, what have you written? So is it like for the third question, surface of area? Third question. Yeah, it was like that. Okay. Yes, Mustafa. Explain this question. What are the factors that affects fluid friction?
The viscosity of the fluid,
Good.
so the area in contact
Hmm.
of the object that's moving through the fluid medium,
Okay.
uh, so the speed of the object.
Speed of the object. Good. Anything else? To some extent, temperature also will affect. To some extent. Okay, no? Okay,
Yes.
good. So here we have done the revision of all the chapters which we have done recently. Okay, no? I still have few more questions. We can do that as well. Okay, let's do this one right now. That's from force and pressure. So the below figure shows a container filled with water. Which of the following statement is correct about pressure of water? Different points A, B, and C is given here. Which option is correct?
Option D.
Option number?
D.
So optional.
What about others? Yes, Daha, Abu Bakr, Aman, and Priyanka. Which option is correct here?
Yes, it's option A.
Option D, no? Right? Because the height of the water, the column of the water above point C is maximum here. And we know with depth, pressure in the fluids increases. So the first maximum pressure will be at C, then at B, and then A. Okay. So right now I was thinking that we should continue with a new chapter. Okay. You guys tell me, what would you like to do? You have any questions, any chapters, any topics which you have found difficult to understand? You can let me know. We can discuss that. Or we have the option that we can start with a new chapter lesson today. Also, guys, keep this thing in mind. Most likely we're going to start a new chapter because we have done revision from almost all the chapters which we have done recently in the batch. Like we have done crop production and management, okay, microorganism, friends and foe, coal and petroleum. Combustion and flame, we haven't done revision question from that because not everyone have studied that chapter in the batch right now. Only two students have studied that chapter, two or three. Then conservation of plants and animals, force and pressure, and friction. Okay, now we have done some revision questions from these chapters. If you guys happen to have any questions, any difficulty, please let me know.
So did we do metals and non-metals, or was it removed from NCERT?
Actually, it's not there in the NCERT. Okay. So for those of you who are having this chapter, we'll be scheduling some extra class. All right. So right now we'll be starting a new chapter, and that's going to be reproduction in animals. Okay. If you have any questions, any of you, please let me know.
Can we do
So I
some?
have a question in friction of air.
In air friction. Okay.
Yeah.
Tell me. Is it some particular topic, a particular question, or the entire topic?
Sir, I didn't understand half the topic.
Okay, okay. See, it's basically related to friction only, fluid friction, right? So basically, as we know about fluids, fluid refers to air and water, right? Air, water, but basically air and liquid. Okay, now air and liquid, that is together called as fluid, and both of them are made up of, like, they are not empty. They are made up of some particles. They are made up of some molecules right now, and since it's a fluid, so the molecules of the fluid are always in motion. Getting it? Like water has molecules in it, and all those molecules are always at motion. They are moving or not. They are not stationary, they are moving now, right? Similarly, the air that we see around us, it's a mixture of different gases, right? And gases are made up of molecules. They are made up of particles, very small particles that we cannot see with our bare eyes, and they are constantly moving. You cannot see them with your bare eyes, but right now in your room, all the gases particles, they are moving here and there. Right now, they are exerting some pressure at the walls of your room, which is almost negligible, but still they are exerting some pressure. Getting it? Similarly, when you take a glass of water, the molecules of the water, they are in continuous movement. They're hitting the walls of the glass. They're applying pressure on it, but you don't feel it because it is very small. Getting it? What I'm trying to say? But this pressure you get to feel when it increases tremendously, or if there's a change, if there's a tremendous amount of change in this. Suppose, for example, when you climb a mountain, suppose you climb a mountain or a cliff, so the atmospheric pressure drops, and then you feel the effect of it. Right now, there's a change in the atmospheric pressure when you're going higher up in the mountain. Your internal pressure is more in comparison to the atmospheric pressure around you. So thereby we may suffer from nausea, nose bleeding, etc. And when we go deeper in the ocean, right? Suppose if we are going deep into the ocean without any special suits, without any special equipment, so most likely it is that it will lead to our death. If we haven't taken proper equipments with us because of the tremendous amount of the pressure of the fluid above us, of the water above us, will be basically crushed, right? All of you would be familiar with the Ocean Gate, an accident that happened around 1 or 2 years ago, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, no. So
Yes.
basically, it imploded from inside, right now. It imploded so bad, like people would not even have the time to process what happened with them. Getting it? That is the thing. So in the beginning, I said that all the things that we see around us, all of them are made up of particles. All of them are made up of molecules, right now.
And the
Like
molecules are made up of atoms.
exactly, molecules are made up of atoms. They could be made up of same type of atoms or different type of atoms. So if you're having a solid object like this, right now, solid object like this. So in this, the particles are having less amount of energy in them. They are not like moving here and there, right now. They have less kinetic energy. They have less kinetic energy in them. But if you have water, if you have oil, when we have gases, so they have more amount, the particles have more energy in them, right now. So that's why, for example, if I were, let us say, I were to take a cylinder in my hand, let's say I have taken a cylinder, let's assume, and if I were to fill gas in this, okay, and I have filled so much extra amount of gas in this, and now I were to tightly close it, getting it? So there will be buildup of pressure inside this. There will be buildup of pressure inside this. Now, if I were to put few more amount of gases in it, it can explode. Getting it? It can explode. So the reason here is that the thing here is that the molecules of the fluids, they are constantly moving. Look at this image over here. Let's say that if we have taken a glass, okay, and these are the molecules of water in it. And since this is water, it's a liquid, and as you guys are aware that the particles of liquid are always in motion, right? Now they have kinetic energy. And the what energy do they have? Kinetic energy. By the way, kinetic energy, this term is very simple. Any object, anything that is moving, they are said to have kinetic energy in them. Getting it? A car is moving, it is having kinetic energy. Okay, you have thrown a ball, while the ball is in motion, it is having kinetic energy. So the particles of the liquid, they are always in motion, they are said to have kinetic energy. So since they are in motion, will they not hit the wall of the glass with some amount of force? They will hit it with some amount of force now,
Yes.
right? Right, everyone. And since it's a particle, right now, and it is hitting the wall of the glass with some amount of force, there must be some amount of area over which it is going to hit now, no matter how small that area is, but there's going to be some area. So force is going to act over area now, right? So what is force acting per unit area called as? What is force acting over area called as?
Pressure.
That is pressure. Getting it? So in this I have given the example of water. Same concept applies to air also. Okay, na? Suppose we have taken a balloon and you are now inflating it with some gas. Okay, you are not inflating it. So as you're inflating it with gas, so what is happening here? Gas molecules are being filled inside it or not? Gas molecules are being filled now, right?
Yes.
And you guys know that the gaseous molecules are having more amount of energy in them in comparison to liquid. Getting it, guys? The particles of the air, particles of gas, they have more energy in comparison to the liquid. So since they have energy, they have kinetic energy, so they will all also be exerting some amount of force now, since they are moving, They're constantly moving randomly here and there, so they will also exert some amount of force on the internal surface of the balloon, right? And they will again be applying this force on some area, so thereby they will also create some pressure. Getting it what I'm trying to say? And that's going to be air
Yes.
pressure. And as I was going to write down that they have higher kinetic energy. Getting it? Now, there's not only one molecule of the gas here. There's so many, uncountable, right now. And together, all of them will be exerting pressure on the wall of the balloon, and this will increase eventually. And if you keep on filling it, ultimately, it will explode. Getting what I'm trying to say? So
Yes,
that
sir.
was just a small example to explain you about the air pressure, like how it comes into existence. Getting it? Then there are several characteristics of the air pressure, like it's acts in all the direction. Getting it? No? It acts in all the directions. With the altitude, it changes. When we talk about the atmospheric pressure, right now, so when we are close to the sea level, when we are on the flat land, so the atmospheric pressure in comparison to flat land, like if you are on a flat land, okay, and you have gone to a mountain, okay, you have gone to a mountain. One more thing you guys would be aware that as the altitude increases, as the height increases, air becomes thinner and thinner, right? Everyone knows this now, right?
Yes.
Which layer of the atmosphere is thickest? It's the
The
troposphere, no?
troposphere.
After that is stratosphere, mesosphere, thermosphere, exosphere, ionosphere is there. So the above layers of the atmosphere, like ionosphere, exosphere, thermosphere, mesosphere, even the stratosphere, they are thinner in comparison to the layer of the atmosphere in which we humans are living. That is troposphere. Getting it? Now, suppose forget about this for a minute. Skip it aside. Now let's take another balloon. Okay, na? And in this balloon, I have filled only few amount of particles. Few amount of gas particles have been filled, right? So will there be more pressure in this balloon B or in this balloon B? Where will be the more pressure?
Balloon A.
Balloon A clearly now, because there were more amount of air molecules, more amount of gas molecules in it. I see that some of you guys are silent. Please let me know if you are not able to understand this. I will try to simplify it further. Priyanka, Aman Mustafa, and Abu Bakr, you guys are not saying anything. Yes?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
So the pressure here will be more and here the pressure will be less. Can we apply the same concept here also? More amount
Yes.
of gas molecules means more amount of pressure, right? Less amount of air molecules or gas molecules means less amount of pressure. Hence, when we are going to a mountain or to a cliff, the air is thinner. That means there is less amount of air molecules in comparison to the land. Hence, the pressure is less. There is less amount of pressure. And here the pressure is more. So the altitude also affects the air pressure. Getting it? So there are different factors that affects the air pressure. That affects the air pressure. Sorry. All right now. So what are the some of the factors? So the first factor was the altitude, right? Altitude. Second factor is temperature. What is it? It is temperature. Okay. Then there's one more factor, that is the humidity also. Let's first discuss about the temperature. As you guys know that warmer air is less dense, right? And it will spread out, it will rise up now. Warm air, it is lighter, it is less dense, so it will rise up.
Mm.
Getting it, guys? So
Yes,
suppose
sir.
you someone is, let's say, stranded in a desert, okay, or let's say someone has basically visited a desert. So the air above the desert, hmm, it will become hot right? It will become hot. It will be hot air. And hot air, what do you know about it? It is lighter, no? So will it stay close to the ground or will it move up? It
It'll
will
move up.
move up. It will spread out. It will move up like this. Getting it, guys? So thereby,
Yes.
there's going to be less amount of air molecules now here, no? Right? Less amount of air molecules. So if there are less amount of air molecules, will the pressure be same or will it decrease now? It will decrease now.
It will be decreased. Yeah.
So there'll be less amount of pressure. So getting how the temperature is also affecting the pressure. Hope you guys are able to understand all this thing.
Yes.
Getting it?
Sir.
Okay.
Yes,
Is the
sir.
doubt clear or is there any other doubts also in this?
Yes, I understood.
Understood? Okay, good to know. Okay, you guys can also ask any questions. Yeah. Yes, Mustafa, do you have any questions?
Humidity is just like the temperature, right?
No, no. Humidity refers to the amount of moisture present in
Yeah. What
air.
if? Yeah. Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. So, like humid air, it contains water vapor in it. Getting it?
Yeah.
Hmm, that's the thing. Okay, so since you guys are not saying anything, not asking any questions, so let's start the chapter. So we should be starting reproduction in animals now. That's the chapter we are going to do. Okay. Now, before we continue with this chapter, that is reproduction in animals, we need to understand few basic things. All of you turn your cameras on. Doha, Abu Bakr, Priyanka. Okay, Priyanka, you're traveling. Aman, Mustafa. First question to you guys is that what are the basic life processes needed to keep a living organism alive? My question is, what are the basic life processes needed to keep a living organism alive?
Reproduction.
Repeat again.
Reproduction.
Reproduction. I'm saying about an individual organism, not the entire population. I'm saying if there's a single organism, there's one organism. Okay, now let's say there's an animal. Let's say there's a goat. Okay. So what are the basic life processes that will be essential for keeping that goat alive? Only
Breathing.
just one that goat. That is
Breathing.
okay. Breathing. That
Okay.
will be included in respiration. This breathing
Yeah.
is a part of
Respiration.
respiration. Good.
Mm.
Nutrition.
Yeah.
Hydration.
Okay, and
Hydration.
repeat again.
Hydration.
Water.
Hydration. Hydration itself is not a process like that is included in nutrition. Okay, no? Transportation. What in what sense? Like animal moving from one place to another or transportation
Vehicle
of
due to climate.
no, that's a different thing. Transportation of important materials inside the body of the organism. Transportation here it is taken in other contexts, like it's the circulation of the essential substances like nutrients, like oxygen throughout the body of the organism. In that context, I am saying transportation. So far, what things we have counted? Nutrition, respiration, and transportation. And that's it. Are there any more? What about excretion? Right? Excretion is also essential, no? Getting it? What would happen? Think about it. What will happen if the organism were not to do excretion? Huh? If an organism, the excretion of the waste material stops, what will happen?
The
So
person gets sick
the waste material will build up in the
because
body.
the waste materials will be still in the body, so the person will get sick.
Exactly. Right. So excretion is the process by which living organisms eliminate the metabolic waste products from their body, whatever waste product is being produced. Right now, and there are different organs that helps in the mechanism of excretion. Kidney helps in excretion, lungs, skin, right? Getting it? Different organs are there which helps in excretion. Okay, like kidneys, they are primary responsible for filtering the waste from the blood, and they produce urine and other things, particularly the nitrogenous waste. Lungs, they excrete carbon dioxide, right? Now they are excreting carbon dioxide in the process of exhalation. And what are the waste products that we get rid of from our skin? Tell me.
Sweat.
Sweat. What does sweat contain?
What it does?
You know, sweat has a salty taste.
Water.
Yeah,
Sweat,
does some
obviously, it
water.
has water in it.
So sweat contains some waste material.
It contains waste material, obviously. Particularly, it contains some salt, and small amount of urea is also in it. Getting it? This is small amount of very small amount of urea is also there in sweat. Okay. So far, respiration, nutrition is essential. Other than nutrition, respiration, nutrition, respiration, transportation, excretion. These are the important life processes that is required for an organism, that is required to keep an organism alive, right? But where does reproduction count? Did we count it reproduction here?
No.
No. So an individual can stay alive without reproduction. Right now, it does not perform a very necessary function that will help in keeping that individual organism alive, right? But will the progeny, I mean to say, will the population of the organism increase without reproduction? So hence, obviously no. So reproduction is the process by which living organism produces new individuals of the same species, so that their population can increase, so that their survival can be ensured, so that they don't become extinct. Getting what I'm trying to say?
Yes.
So although reproduction does not play an important role in ensuring the continuity of an individual, but it ensures the continuity of the species of that organism. Okay. Hope so far it is clear. So Mustafa Ghaus, you read the paragraph.
Reproduction is the process.
First paragraph only.
Reproduction is the process by which living organisms produce new individuals of the same species. Reproduction is necessary for the survival and increase in the population of this of a species. If organisms do not reproduce, their population decreases and species will become extinct.
Good. Hope that paragraph should have been clear to everyone. Okay. Before continuing further, there's a term which everyone should get familiar with. Okay, and that term is offspring. Okay. Offspring. So the word offspring here, it basically refers to what? It refers to the young children of an animal, young child of an animal. It could be human or it could be any other organism. Okay, now? So offspring, it refers to young child of an animal. Okay, sometimes it is written in context of the child of humans also, because we humans are also, logically speaking, we are also animals, but we are said to be so-called social animals. Now, what is the importance of reproduction? We have already learned so far. So it allows continuity of a species generation after generation. It plays an important role in evolution also by transmitting favorable variation from one generation to another generation. This one I will be explaining in a minute. Also, one more point we can write down, it prevents extinction. It prevents extinction of organisms. Because reproduction is helpful in increasing the population, so thereby it prevents extinction of the organism. Okay. Now, the question here is that it plays an important role in evolution by transmitting favorable variations, it is saying. Like, what does it mean? So you all might have heard about natural selection, right? You might have learned about heard about natural selection. Anyone? Yeah, heard about natural selection or terms like mutation, or natural selection or evolution. Maybe somewhere you might have learned about it or heard of it. So basically, it says it plays an important role in evolution by transmitting favorable variation from one generation to another. Although there are some disputes regarding the theory of evolution, but for the sake of understanding what was the concept, we'll try to understand this. Okay, I'm not going to discuss whether the concept of theory of evolution was correct or was it wrong, because there are some speculations around it, there are some controversies around it, whether it was correct or not. Okay, now, like there are some religious objections against it, there are some there are some so many scientific debates are there around it, but still, for the sake of having an open mind, let us discuss this. Suppose in a forest there were two types of beetles. Beetles, you guys understand now, right?
Yes.
There were two groups of beetles. One were the black ones and another were the red ones. Sorry, not the red. Sorry, I meant to say the red and the green ones. We have red beetles, and these are the green beetles. Okay, and they basically are eating the leaves. What do they eat? They eat the leaves. And crows used to eat them. They were eaten by the crows. So since the red beetles were easily identifiable from a distance, okay, na? So they were easily identifiable by the crows, so they were easily picked up and eaten. Getting it? But the green beetles, they used to kind of merge with their environment. They used to merge with the color of the green leaves. So hence it was difficult for the crows to pick on them. Getting it? So it kind of led to a natural selection that the red beetles, their population started to decline. Okay, no? Because the red color was kind of disadvantageous to them. Okay. So gradually what happened? The nature selected these green beetles. Okay, no? They were safe and their population now started to grow. So here, having green color is a favorable characteristic. Having green color body, it was a favorable characteristics that was not transmitted from one generation to another generation, and this ensured that the population started to grow. Getting it? So if these beetles were not to reproduce, will they be able to transmit their favorable characteristics, their favorable traits to next generation? Tell me.
No.
Reproduction has played an important role here now. So it is said that sometimes it is said that it plays an important role in transmitting the favorable characteristics also. Although there's some core disputes surrounding the theory of evolution. Okay, now, like the interpretation of Darwin's theory of natural selection, that is not done properly, or in the scientific community, there are some other concepts that are more acceptable, that sounds more logical, but still, for the sake of just having an argument, we have discussed it. Like, okay, we have some simple questions here. Like, what is reproduction? First question is, what is reproduction?
The process of producing offspring.
The process of producing offspring.
What does offspring mean?
Um.
So the child of any animal.
Yeah, the child of an
It could be like young child, and it should be young child. Okay, particularly we should say young child. Next, which of the following is a role of reproduction?
Maintaining
maintaining the species population.
Maintaining the species population. Good. Reproduction is essential because it helps to
Prevent extinction of species.
Prevent extinction of a species. Very good. Okay. In the upcoming class, we are going to learn about the types of reproduction. Okay, now how in some organisms two genders are required, like one of male and a female organism is required, while in some cases, in some organisms, a single parent can give birth to a offspring. A single parent can give birth to a new organism. Like we'll be learning about bacteria, we'll be learning about some organism like this planaria, uh, hydra, etc. They will be basically giving birth to new living organisms without going through the process of reproduction, I mean to say. Okay. So we'll be learning about different modes of reproduction. One will be learning about asexual mode of reproduction, where only one parent organism is required. Then we'll be learning about the sexual reproduction, where um, we will get to learn that two parents will be required. Okay. So those are the things we are going to discuss. That's it for today's class. If you have any questions, let me know.